Hi, everybody. Welcome to Drop In with Lauren and Barb.
Nice to see everyone.
Yes, hope everyone's enjoying this hot summer. Very hot indeed. Today, we want to talk about morning routines, or some people call it morning rituals. Like, do you have something that you always like to do in the morning to get your day started? Not everybody has that. But I'm an advocate of some sort of a morning routine to get your day going in a way that you can count on and that you really enjoy. What do you think?
Yeah, and I'm going to just add to that. If you don't have a morning routine, you might like to think about one after you hear us, because one of the really important things about a morning routine is it sets the energy and sort of the tone for your whole day. And there's actually been a lot of different studies on this showing how if you start your morning off with a routine that's more calming, right, that it's going to just increase your energy production during the day. It's going to increase your productivity. And what I think even most important is increasing sort of your positivity, positive outlook on life. So that's kind of the direction of why I think a good morning routine is a nice way to start your day.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've talked about the Ayurvedic perspective on the podcast before, but I'm going to come from that perspective, at least when it comes to my routine, which is to wake early. I mean, of course, it depends on what time I go to bed, but I am trying to wake fairly early, and that's different for everybody, right? For some people, 5 is early. For me, it's more like 6. Wake with the sun and scrape your tongue.
This is the first time I'm seeing that tongue scraper.
So
it's quite the thing.
it is. It's just a piece of metal.
Yeah.
Get it on Amazon, and you literally just scrape your tongue. We all have a little, we call it ama in Sanskrit, but it's basically just gunk,
like
that
bacteria or something
accumulates on your tongue. And scraping it off in the morning is something that has become part of my routine. Not everybody likes to brush their teeth right away, but I've been doing that just recently, probably because I have Invisalign now, and I'm a lot more conscientious about oral health. But oral health is really important to your digestive health. It's where everything starts, right? We have you have like a microbiome in your gut. You also have a oralome, the bacteria that live in your mouth. And so staying healthy with the mouth is really important if you have any gut macro, what am I trying to say? If you have any gut concerns, digestive issues, elimination issues, starting with the mouth is important.
Yeah. So it's an imbalance in your microbiome system,
Yes, which many of us have due to many different reasons.
I think probably you could go as far as to say pretty much everyone does, because even stress affects the microbiome, right? That's a whole nother topic, but yeah. So I mean, so it's interesting because everyone is this whole topic can be looked at in so many different ways. So it's interesting to hear what you're saying as far as waking up and sort of taking care of this sort of oral health as a way to sort of help your digestive system and this microbiome system, which we know is basically the foundation for all sort of health and wellness in the body, right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting, because I hadn't really sort of had that take on it before hearing this. So that's very interesting. Yeah.
So the next thing would be to drink a cup of water that is warm. Doesn't have to
Mhm.
be like hot, like a cup of tea. It can be like body temperature warm,
Yeah.
but it gets absorbed very easily because the body doesn't have to warm it or cool it, right? If you drink cold water, it's really not good for your digestive fire. It kind of tamps it down. If you drink really hot liquid, that's not terrible, but you might not want to drink really hot liquid in the summertime. Maybe you save that for the winter, but in the summer, room temperature or a little warmer gets things moving, letting your body know we're waking up here
Mm,
and it's, going to be time to eliminate within the next hour or so.
yeah.
And sometimes you could squeeze in a little bit of lemon or lime juice. Really nice to do that. Sometimes I just put in like a few little pieces of cardamom seed or fennel seed, or just to give it a little bit of flavor. But water, just plain water is also fine.
Yeah, so that's interesting too. I mean, that is part of what I would say is a good part of the morning routine. Also, just adding to that is that oftentimes at night the body gets dehydrated. So,
Mm,
like as you're going through the night, especially you spoke about summer, you might be sweating a little bit more at night, but the way the body works is that it can get dehydrated at night. So often many of us might wake up in the morning and notice that we actually feel thirsty.
mhm.
And so really important to hydrate, right? To rehydrate the system from its dehydration the night before. And important too is a lot of times the first thing people drink in the morning is coffee,
Yeah.
right? And so it's okay to have your cup of coffee. I don't have anything bad to say about that. But what I would say is if you're someone who likes to drink coffee in the morning, make sure you drink this glass of water before you actually drink the coffee. One, so it dehydrates you, but also the sort of the effect that coffee has on the cortisol level, which is important in the morning when we wake up for it to be like a little bit on the higher end. And so the effect of caffeine on that affects the way your body's going to sort of step into the day, right?
Yeah.
So,
And coffee is actually very drying to your system. And
yeah.
the water will help to moisten everything because we
hmm
really do want to eliminate in the morning.
Yeah.
Ideally within the first hour of waking up. But I understand that we all have different digestive systems, and that's not the case for everybody. But in a perfect world, within that first hour of waking up, something is exiting you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's also, again, a good topic of digestion, right? And
Sure.
how do
Well,
we know
coffee
our
does
digestive
have that
system?
effect, right? To kind of get
Yeah.
moving along.
Yeah, yeah. So and just sort of to back up, because I feel like we're touching on all these good morning routines. You had said about waking up with the sun,
Mhm.
right? And so I love that, that idea, which obviously it's easier. I feel like it's easier in the summer, right? The sun is
Yeah.
up early, it's right. Um, but that idea, even if you're not waking up right with the sun, or if it happens to be winter time, when you get up, having yourself exposed to some sunlight in
Mm,
like the first, you know 30 minutes or so of waking up is also something that can be really beneficial because it taps into sort of that circadian rhythm in the body, right? So,
yes.
and I think sometimes what like in the perfect world, right, we didn't have work or anything we had to do. Like we could just go to sleep and wake up with the light, right? Like go to sleep when it's dark, wake up
Yes.
when it's light.
Yes.
Right. But we know that we can't all do that, and that we have oftentimes we have to go to work, or we have like a routine, we have children that we have to take care of. So
Mhm.
this idea of starting your day sort of slowly, right? So if you know that you have to be up at like 6:30 and you're someone who gets up and then gets in the shower and then hits the ground running, having this sense of like, can I begin to get up maybe, half an hour earlier so that when I wake up, I
Mhm.
can, wake up slowly, allow my body to slowly stretch, maybe have a little bit of a stretching, routine that you might do in bed. And I always find to like that first, half an hour of waking up, just doing some breathing, right? So just sort of breaths to kind of start the day. And it's simple, like 6 deep breaths so that you're mindfully breathing in and breathing out. And then maybe you're, next to the window, so you get some light, or you step outside, have your glass of warm water, do your oral hygiene, right? And then move on to like coffee and
Yes.
just that kind of a morning, right? As opposed to a morning, which often happens, the alarm rings, you jump out of bed, you've got 75,000 things to do, you grab that coffee before you're even thinking of anything. And now your whole day is started from this place in the nervous system of stress, right? And rush and stress and sweat, as opposed to like, oh, this really nice ritual. Like, I love that word ritual. You said that in the
Yes.
beginning,
And
right?
the other piece is, I'm just going to add to what you said because I love everything you said. How many of us roll over and grab your phone and start scrolling?
Oh, 100%. Yes. Yeah, that is like high on the list of if that's you, really try, to not do that. Because 9 times out of 10, whatever you're seeing on that phone, whether you're answering an email or you're looking at the morning news or it's stressful. Like it's not like a lovely, little intention or here's a breath
Yeah.
exercise to do.
And chances are it can wait.
It can wait. So that actually is really the way we're so connected to our phones. That's such a really important thing to be mindful of, right? So if that's you, if you're here listening and you're like, oh yeah, I roll over and I immediately look at my iPad or my phone or get on my computer and check emails, just changing that piece can really set this tone in your system to
Mm,
have a more peaceful start to the day.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that you
So
said
if
that.
that is you, if you are that person, even just postponing it 20 or 30 minutes, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
get to your phone and you can get to your social media just a little later.
Mm-hmm.
Set your body and then, right, because you're going to set your body, you're going to set your nervous system, you're going to set your digestive system and create a foundation so that you can handle whatever it is you're going to see when you open up your
Yes.
computer, you get on your
I yeah, I agree. And I was thinking like, I don't know, it was a few months back or something. I was on vacation somewhere. It was winter, so I was somewhere where it was warm. And every morning I just, got up and went outside and did a little meditation and, just it was all just so lovely, right? And then I say to myself, why am I not doing this? It feels
phone.
so good, right? Didn't look at the phone, didn't do any of those things, didn't have coffee until later on. And so you think, well, my life gets too busy and everything's too rushed. And then I said to myself, you know what? No, like you can make the time, right?
Mhm.
Again, like our whole, like we're always preaching about self-care, right? You can make the time to do this by just starting your day a little earlier if your day always starts busy. And so I really made a commitment to starting my day slowly. And I really have to say, it makes a huge, huge difference.
That is just awesome. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the testimony of what your experience has been. And sometimes you need to go to Costa Rica, wherever you
Yeah,
were,
right.
to, be like, oh yeah, this is what really turns me on and makes me excited about life.
Yeah.
Like finding the little things that make you
Yes, the
happy, like it is hydrangea season.
the
You know,
flowers.
it is. So, like Barb was saying, 6 breaths. Well, maybe you're looking at a candle or flowers when you're doing those 6 breaths. Like it's not a chore, it's this choice
Mm-hmm.
make every day to fall in love with your morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
You're excited. Like you might be super psyched to wake up and have coffee. I get it. I'm like that too. But what other things that are not so stimulating can you get excited about for your morning routine that are just as exciting as or close to as a cup of coffee, but that will really support your nervous system, support your digestive system, support your health. Because a lot of times we just go on automatic pilot, right? The response is, well, that's what I always do.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't
Well,
even,
we don't even think about it, right? Like, so you're such in a like a perpetual pattern, you don't even think about it.
yeah.
So you just get up and you go, you know. So I think it's again like this whole idea of, you know, being mindful about what it is that you're doing, you know,
Mm,
from the moment you get up, you know, making this choice, right? Can I get up? Can I set it up so that I can get up slowly, right? And not rush right into whatever the day has to offer, you know?
yeah.
Um, and sometimes, honestly, days can be so busy that that's the only time that you really are going to feel like you have to yourself for the day, right?
And that early morning sun is not bad for your skin, like going out at 6 or 7 a.m. to get the sunlight, to get the vitamin D on your
Mhm.
skin.
Yes.
That's much healthier sunlight for you if you can make that happen.
Yeah.
And the
The pineal glands.
right,
Yeah.
stimulate the pineal gland. So no sunglasses just for a few minutes.
Right.
You definitely need your sunblock and your sunglasses later in the day, but not early in the morning. That sun is just much more gentle
Yeah.
and it doesn't have the same effect. It's not going to burn your skin if you're out there for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the benefits of the vitamin D that you're going to get, the natural vitamin D from being out,
Yeah.
is really important. So I think that's a good. The summer again, it's easier to do. But again, if you can't, you know, there is a value to just being in a window, you know,
Yeah.
and just having that experience of the light, right? So it's that experience your body is having to the light, letting it know, right, that it's now time for it to start to wake up. And
Right.
I was reading something else too, like people often have this habit, like the snooze button on your you know, on your whatever. I was gonna say your alarm clock, but probably everybody use their iPhone now. But that actual action of constantly hitting the snooze button, and like so that like maybe it's set for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then it goes off, and then you hit, and then it goes off, and you hit it, is really hard on your body and your nervous system, and like sort of the start of a day, right? So
Mhm.
someone I was reading was, and I don't remember who it was talking about if you have to do snooze, right, to make sure that you have it on something that's like super calm and quiet, right? And not like some blaring alarm. Because like think about that when you're like sleeping in the sound sleep, and even in that like 10-minute snooze, you can often like get like drop back into a pretty good level of sleep.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this loud noise like jolts you out of, you know, awake, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so, you know, thinking about that routine as well, what is your routine? How can you change that, right, in order to make it a more peaceful, like soothing experience of waking up
Yeah.
as opposed to that, like, you know, jarring event.
And you might even go so far as to say a great morning routine starts the night before. Like, how are you setting yourself up to go
Mm-hmm.
to sleep? Right? Like, are you doom scrolling, putting your phone down, and then trying to go to sleep? Like, to get a good night's sleep sets you up for a great morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting a wind down period that isn't so intense and bombarding you with things, and
Yeah.
really getting a good night's sleep So maybe you don't need the snooze button as much.
Right. Yeah, it's always interesting, I find, when you just sort of step back and just take a look at, like, what does my routine actually look like in the morning? Like, sort
Mhm.
of this sort of self-inquiry, just curious, right? No judgment about it, but like, what is my routine? Like, did I ever even think about it? And then
Yeah.
seeing what it is, and I would say, you know, thinking of some of these things, like you don't have to do everything, but if you just think about some of the things that we've talked about and
Mhm.
noticing, like, what in my routine seems really harsh and jarring, and how can I change that? Right. And what things can I add that maybe a little bit more allow me to start my day a little bit more peacefully, right? And
Yeah.
quietly.
Yeah. So Barb, I want you to chime in also
Oh my
how
God, I have
you
this
feel about
cold.
this, but um I know not everyone has the opportunity to exercise in the morning. I
Mm,
totally understand that. But if you
right.
do, choosing to exercise,
I have an incense burning.
oh yeah, that can really drive you down.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I gotta turn it off. So I'm gonna step
Go
back.
ahead, turn it off. Anyway, what I was saying is exercising in the morning can also be a part of your routine
Yeah.
between the hours of 6 and 10 a.m. Right?
Yeah.
For those of you that have freedom to decide when you work out, that is a great window of time. Somewhere between 6 and 10 a.m.
Yeah.
really sets you up for a great day. Now, I know not everyone can do that. If you have to be at work at 8 or 9, you can only work out either at lunchtime or after work. So be it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is like the optimal time to do your exercise, right? And in that time, when we can exercise in that time, it actually can be very energizing, right? So you have the most energy in the beginning of the day. I briefly kind of talked about the cortisol. It's always highest in the morning when we wake up, and then it starts to slowly decrease. So if we can get our exercise in when we're in that cycle, and of like our hormonal cycle, it can be very beneficial to the body, right?
Mhm.
um, and so if you can exercise in the morning, it's best, but like you said, not everyone can do that.
Mhm.
And so then whenever you can get it in. But I would say, what I always say to people is, even if you can't get in your exercise, like your hour, whatever it is that you're
Yeah.
doing,
Mhm.
right? But maybe what you just do is you have like 3 or 4 exercises that you do, or
Things.
like stretches. Some
Yes.
people like to do like a plank or some push-ups or a couple of bridge poses, right? Just to, sort of stimulate the system,
Sure.
right? And so maybe that's 10 minutes or so of exercise, 15 minutes in the morning, as part of this whole idea of setting the stage for the day,
Yeah,
can be really, really beneficial for sure, so
definitely.
that's a good
Um,
point to bring up.
I really want to stress this piece about loving your morning ritual
Mm,
because, and of course, these things like showers that can be
right.
included.
Yeah.
Do your morning ritual that you love and need to do, and maybe add in the warm water, the tongue scrape, the breath. What Just see how these things feel. Try them on. Does it work for you? And not just one day, because it does take time to build up a new habit. So giving yourself permission to not like it right away, but just stick with it for a few days and see, are you starting to feel something different?
Mm,
So not everyone is hungry in the morning, but some people are really hungry in the morning, and honoring that and eating like a seasonally appropriate breakfast is
mm,
be on some people's list, and that's fine. If it brings you joy, what sort of food that works in the morning is something that you're going to look forward to. So really what I'm
mm,
stressing is looking forward to your morning routine, using some oil that smells good that you love, or, making it this beautiful experience that you look forward to and fall in love with and re-fall in love with every morning.
Mm,
Something to
yeah.
consider, whether you have a flower there, you play some soft music that you love, whatever it is, taking this as seriously as you want and making it very personal and special for you.
Hmm.
It's not just about your makeup and your outfit, right? It's about going deeper than that, not just the outer you, but going inward and finding what really is going to bring you that feeling of falling in love with your morning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice way to look at it. Just what you're doing, does it bring you, in a sense, this joy, right? Um, and in that sense, if it does, like if you're in love with your routine, whatever it is,
Mhm.
right? Your whole system is going to be like energetically in a space, right, of peacefulness, of gratitude, right, of sort of ready to step into the day,
Yeah, and that will also be emitted from you.
Yeah.
You've created that inside, and then that comes out, and that will inform everything you do for the rest of the day, or certainly what you do in the morning.
Yeah.
You might be a little more accepting of something that happens on your drive to work. You might be a little more accepting of something that happens at work. You've created this frame of mind for yourself,
Yeah.
intentional frame of mind that you can bring with you. And it's not just, I hate to say it, but social media and caffeine. Like,
Yeah, I think probably most people would want to get away from that. It's just, again, I feel like it's this sort of step back to just notice what is even my routine. Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? And then if you see what that is and then add into it what you're saying, how could I change this into something that I love and look forward to and brings me joy, right? Um, and then
Mm.
I would add to that, there's a couple of little things that are not maybe going to bring you joy, but can be really beneficial, like drinking that warm glass of water before you
Mm.
have your caffeine,
Yeah.
uh,
Thinking
so
a little, breathing deeply.
right, which
Mhm.
are, just those are just little pieces within the whole day morning sort of routine that you're going to show up with that can be really beneficial to your
Mhm.
health and wellness, like long term.
And even beyond that, for anyone who's feeling anxious when they first wake up and maybe not eliminating in the morning on a regular basis, really looking at why that might be, because chances
Hmm.
are, you're not setting yourself up to make those things happen. And that's really what we want everyone to do, is start to get really mindful around their choices. And I
It
think
all goes back to mindfulness.
I mean, of course, right? We've come
Full
full
circle.
circle. Every week we do.
Yeah, it does. Uh,
Any final thing you want to add to this part?
um, no, I really feel like no, I think I've pretty much said it all. I think it's me, for like I said earlier, for me personally,
Mhm.
recognizing what my routine was and making just a few changes to it just has been really beneficial. So I feel like it's a nice thing and an easy thing for people to try, to be able to sort of just start their day and almost like, and also have like control over your day, right? Like this morning time, like no one
Mhm.
is really infringing on it, right? And so
Sure.
it's like your time to really like sort of be in control of how you're setting yourself up for the day and then stepping out into the world
I love it.
more ready, honestly, to take on all the stimulus that's going to hit you as soon as you walk out.
Yeah, it's like that
Yeah.
time no one's asking anything of you.
No, know. It's so nice.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes our time and our chat for today.
Excellent.
Look forward to talking to everybody soon. Enjoy
All
your day.
right. Very good. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Drop In was produced by Barbara Franzino and Lauren Lanham. Original music by Jesse Lanham. You can email us at dropin2023@gmail.com. That's DROPIN2023@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to hit subscribe and give the episode a thumbs up. Thanks so much, and we'll catch you next time on Drop In.